Episode number 18 of All in Society and Friends. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. It is January 2nd, 2024. Another episode of All in Society and Friends. Just minus the friends for this episode. It's going to be solo C today. So if you're not familiar with me, it's your first time watching. My name is Claude Purchase. I also go by Uncle Buddy 21 at Uncle Buddy 21 on my social media handles. If you're familiar, just curious what that means, everyone in my family calls me Buddy. I was born in '88, and back in the day, well, I shouldn't back in the day, I'm only 35 years old. But back then, there was these My Buddy dolls that my parents got for me, and it kind of stuck. I must have probably played with them, and it kind of stuck. So my dad uh, called me his buddy, and so it kind of stuck, and my family's called me Buddy. They still call me Buddy at the age of 35. So that's what I use for my social media handle. But Happy New Year to you. I hope this will be the best year you've had so far. And I hope you reach all the goals that you've written down. If you did a vision board, I hope you're able to achieve and attain and speak it into existence. And the only way we're going to do that is through hard work and determination, right? Nothing's going to be handed to us. Nothing's just going to fall into our laps. Nothing's going to fall into our hands. We have to go out there and we have to take it, right? So whatever you wrote down, whatever your vision is, go out there and work hard. Don't take any day for granted. You never know. As soon as we walk outside the house, we're not guaranteed to come back, right? I live in the DMV, so people are crazy on the road. So it's a gamble walking out the door, getting in your car, and hitting the road. So with that being said, I hope you're living each day like it's your last, never taking no for an answer, and never settling. I definitely wanted to give my father a shout out. It is his birthday. He is 71 years young today. I spoke to him early this morning. He said he was feeling older. I asked him if he was feeling wiser. He kind of chuckled at that. But yeah, happy birthday to my father. We have pretty much the same exact name, except I am the second, and he is senior. So happy birthday to my father. All right, let's dive in. But before we get into today's topics, I want to go over a couple things. Please make sure you check out my website. It's www.allinsociety.com. There you can learn a little bit more about myself and see exactly what I've been working on as far as my podcast. It's All in Society on all major podcast networks, as well as this show, All in Society and Friends. This is my YouTube show. Every once in a while, we will go live with special guests, but today is just going to be a pre-recorded episode. You can also, as I said, dive deeper into who I am. I have a casino industry background. I'm gravitating away from that and getting into stocks and diving more into real estate. I'm a homeowner. I purchased my first home in 2019, and I'm really starting to decide whether or not I want to stay in this area. I currently live in the DMV area, and so I'm trying to decide if I want to move closer to my family who live in Mississippi, or if I want to stick it out and continue to run my business here or move elsewhere. And so I'll make that decision later on throughout the year. I know it's really tough for those of you who are homeowners and maybe you bought your first home or a home in general back in 2019 with interest rates were so low. It's kind of hard to sell a house or to upgrade and move into a bigger house or maybe a newer house. It's kind of hard to leave that rate. So I feel you guys' pain. I want you guys to stay tuned for a new Patreon community. I'm launching 2 Patreon communities this month as long as Patreon approves it. And currently I'm just waiting for that right now, and I'll let you guys know further. But a little bit of information on that. The first is All in Society Poker Community. It's going to be $24.99 per month. It's monthly subscription. You can cancel anytime. And I'm also going to provide a 7-day free trial for you guys. It's essentially a support group for poker players worldwide. I'll also be operating and running invitations to upcoming meetup games in the DMV, Tunica, Mississippi, and Vegas poker rooms throughout the year in upcoming years. And also, if you're not familiar, definitely check out previous episodes of All in Society and Friends. We have 2 episodes that are geared towards poker, and I spoke to 2 poker pros from the DMV area. And moving on in the future, we'll have exclusive interviews where they will not be available on YouTube for free. The only way that you'll have access to the strategy and tips that the pros provide is through the Patreon group. So definitely check out those episodes if you're a poker fan or if you're part of the poker community. And I would absolutely love to have you in the community. Like I said, I've been in the casino industry my entire adult life. My entire career is around poker, specifically in the casino industry. I started out as a dealer, moved my way up to supervisor, to management. I've recently left because I got tired some of corporate America, kind of tired of the games back and forth and what that entails. And as I moved up, it's really hard because there's not very many spots available unless somebody moves on or new opportunities arise. Where I currently was, there were no new opportunities. So I decided to start my own business and take my future into my own hands. And I have absolutely enjoyed it the past 6 months. The freedom is amazing. I know entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You have to be very mindful of your expenses, and sometimes you don't have that consistent income coming in. But I don't second guess my decision to leave corporate America and work on my own. Also, All in Society VIP community. Now that's going to be $29.88 per month. A little bit more expensive because I'm going to pour a lot more into this community than the poker community. So if, as I stated, if you enjoy All in Society and Friends, conversations and content, you'll have VIP access to exclusive interviews with all of our special guests, not just the guests in poker. So I will specifically leave out the best parts of those interviews, and they will only be available through the Patreon group. So some of the previous episodes, we've had Derek Prillman. He's an author. You can learn how he was able to find other folks to help him launch his first book and tell his story. And it's an amazing story. It's an episode you definitely want to check out. Derek is one of my favorite people in the world to spend time with. We every once in a while we'll go to Washington Wizards games, even though the Wizards are absolutely trash right now. But I love going to basketball games with him, sporting events with him. And just recently we went to Atlanta to Invest Fest together. We had an opportunity to network and pitch and sell his book, which he absolutely did. You'll also have the opportunity to submit questions and join me during live recordings of All in Society and Friends. So if you want to be part of the show, if you have a story to tell, if you are expert in your own industry and you just want to be part of the show, that'll be opportunity. But the only way that you'll be able to submit questions or be a part of the show, if you're not a special guest that I reach out to have on the show, is by participating in this group. And the shows will be on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. when they are live. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., I'll be launching a show, whether it's live or it's pre-recorded. Also, you'll learn how exactly I beat the stock market by 3% in 2023, this past year, by taking control of my 401k. So as I just mentioned, I left my previous employer. So that gave me the opportunity to roll my 401k, my Roth, and just my traditional 401k into a self-managed account where I managed myself last year, and I beat the S&P 500. I beat the market by 3%. So I'm currently managing over $70,000 of my own retirement. So this is not fun. It's not something that I'm playing around with. This is something that I've dedicated the past year and a half, 2 years, going to multiple business conferences, researching, reading the multiple books that you'll see above my head, and really learning how to manage my money, how to invest in the stock market, and not these speculative plays and try to get rich quick schemes. I'm a long-term investor, and my goal is to invest in the best companies and ride those companies long term. And if you're a part of that group and that's something you're interested in, and it doesn't have to be you managing your own 401k, you can just have money that you have set aside that you want to start your own brokerage account and manage your own funds. And I will provide the steps that I took and give you some of the people that I follow on a daily basis and how I learn from them and how I implement some of their teachings into my own investment strategy. And then last but not least, monthly online meetups. We'll meet every month online, whether it be Zoom or some online platform, maybe even Facebook. And we'll get together and we'll dive into whatever you guys want to discuss, whether that's the stock market, real estate, poker. If you even want to talk about poker in this group, we can do that as well. This is a diverse community, and I want to hit on that. Both these communities diverse. Men, women, whether you're black, white, green, purple, blue, I don't care. Everybody is welcome in my community. Everybody is welcome. All right. Thank you for allowing me to pitch that to you guys. And now let's get down to exactly what we're discussing. What are the topics today? So we're going to discuss how I beat the market in 2023. We'll dive a little bit deeper into that in detail. This kind of will be a little bit of taste of what's going to be in the Patreon group. I'll give you my two stocks, which you can see here, maybe not the best, but Roblox and Disney, and we'll dive into those, my favorite stocks of 2024. I'm not saying they're going to make a lot of money, but these are some of the companies, publicly traded companies that I follow and I know pretty darn well, and I follow on a consistent basis. And I think there's a lot of room for these companies to grow in the future. We'll also discuss the VIX, a.k.a. the Fear Index, brokerage accounts for your kids, and we'll go with chat. We'll use ChatGPT, and I'll do a screen share, and I'll show you exactly how I use ChatGPT on a daily basis to really dive into some of topics or concerns that I might have. And I don't necessarily have the information readily available, but we can use ChatGPT as long as we're putting in the correct prompts to give us a little bit more information and help us out. And then also, Bitcoin is above 45,000 for the first time since April 2022. So we'll dive into that a little bit further as well. All right, so before we get into it, guys, I wanted to go over a disclaimer. The information provided in this show about personal finance and investing is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Viewers are encouraged to consult with a qualified financial advisor, which is not myself, before making any investment decisions. The content presented may not be accurate, complete, or timely, and we do not assume responsibility for any errors or omissions. Investing involves risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Any endorsements or advertisements featured do not constitute recommendations, and by participating in this show, you acknowledge and accept these disclaimers. All right, 2024 is going to be a great year. 2024 is going to be a great year. But let's discuss 2023 a little bit, shall we? So the S&P 500 is a stock market index that tracks U.S. equity markets. The index is made up of 500 of the largest publicly traded companies. Now, institutional investors typically compare their stock performance to the S&P 500. And these are the people that are managing your 401k, or sometimes they're just managing your personal accounts. What they do, how they're graded or how they're rated is based on how the stock market overall is performing, and then how are they doing compared to that. Now, 2023, the S&P finished the year up 26%. And my personal portfolio closed up 29% to finish the year of 2023, beating the S&P 500 by 3 And as I stated before in the intro, this was the first year I managed a significant amount of money. I'm managing my entire retirement portfolio. So this is something serious. This is just not money that I'm making from my income from a employer or a job that I have. This is money that I have been putting into my 401k that I cannot touch, I cannot take out without penalty, and that's going to be investing for my future down the road. And I did want to relay some of the tips that I used to beat the market in 2023. Number one, invest in what you know and what you understand. Now, you'll see a lot of times on TV, these talking heads like Jim Cramer or even some of the guys that I follow, they'll tell you, well, you should be investing your money in this or that. And a good example of this is NVIDIA. Last year, I didn't understand how important and exactly what a semiconductor was. And so I missed a NVIDIA rally. And that's fine and all, right? Now, as time went on, I got to understand exactly how semiconductors are so important, especially when the conversation of AI came into the picture last year, which really shot the market up. I didn't really understand what NVIDIA did and how it was going to impact the company's stock price. So as I researched and I learned more, now I understand how the importance of semiconductors. And now that the stocks ran high, now it's really not the time for me to get in. That would be me just kind of chasing the highs. The best advice I can give is to buy low and sell high. Just like when we go out shopping, a lot of times, well, it depends on what type of shopper you are. Sometimes you might be the person who likes designer clothes, expensive clothes. That's not me. I think it's the worst way to spend your money, especially in people. A lot of times, especially, well, I don't want to get into that conversation, but a lot of these times, these designers, they're 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 putting out these clothes or whatever the case may be for a specific audience. A lot of time you are not even their audience. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and buy nice things, but I think there's other ways that you can utilize your money, put your money to work instead of buying clothes which are very expensive and a year later they're out of date and no one's really wearing anymore. It's You're just lighting money on fire in my perspective. Now I know that might rub a lot of people wrong. So a lot of people like nice things, especially if you come up from a humble beginnings and you want to, as you get older, you kind of want to show that, I'm successful, I can afford these things now. That's awesome. You do you. Just for me, I'm not the type of person. I'm born and raised in Michigan. And so I never grew up wanting, and my parents didn't raise me to wear a lot of designer clothes and a lot of like jewelry and things like that. I don't wear my wealth. What I do is I invest. I invest in real estate. I invest in the stock market. And when it's time for me to retire, that money is going to be put into work, and I'll be able to retire and to do all the things that I wanted to do when I didn't have an opportunity to do it when I was steady working and building wealth. So maybe it's just a different way for you to kind of look at 2024 if you're somebody who likes a lot of designer clothes and things like that. As again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody. I'm not trying to be the Grinch, be a Debbie Downer, but I just think there's other ways to spend our money, and investing is a great way to put your money to work rather than buying these nice things. Patience is key. Number two. The late Charlie Munger, who was arguably one of the greatest investors in the stock market ever, he said, and I quote, "The big money is not in the buying and selling, but in the waiting." So patience will pay off. If you're patient and you do your research and you wait for that stock to come down to a price at your price target, then you can take advantage, then you execute, and then you can ride it when the stock goes up. Whereas if, like I mentioned before, a lot of these guys on television, they're talking about the hottest stock. For example, Eli Lilly, the weight loss drugs that Eli Lilly is putting out to help people curb their appetite and maybe eat less in order for them to lose weight. That is really what drove that stock last year. That was last year. There's so many other pharmaceutical companies and there's so many other drugs like cancer, Alzheimer's, and things like that that will be able to drive growth in the future for these pharmaceutical companies. And so if you're listening to these talking heads on TV and you pour your money into Eli Lilly when it's at the top, more times than not, they bought at the bottom. And all they're trying to do is get you guys to buy at the top so they can continue to make money. Just think about this. These guys they've been watching these companies and they've invested in these companies for a very long time. So a lot of things, what they're saying, they're very disingenuous. They're telling you to buy when they're not even buying. And then actually what they're doing, they're using you as exit liquidity. They're allowing you to buy at the top, and when they think it's to the point where it's getting a little too high, then they're starting to sell, and then you're buying in and you're just losing money because you're buying at the top. You don't want to buy in at the top. You want to buy great companies at great prices, and we'll hit on that a little bit later. Actually, that's my next quote from Charlie Munger. The second quote is, buy wonderful businesses at fair prices. I'm gonna read that again. Buy wonderful businesses at fair prices. Not buy trash companies at fair and decent prices. Buy wonderful businesses at fair prices. Buy the best companies at the best price. It's so simple. It's so simple, guys. I know they try to use these big words and try to deter you and make you think that investing in the stock market is so difficult. And then they want you to throw your money into these ETFs. No, it's not difficult. If you learn the skills and the concepts and know exactly what you're looking at, you can determine how to dissect a company and determine whether it's a good company, a wonderful company, and determine what price is this company worth buying at in order for you to have growth in the future. Next, invest for the long term. Resist the urge to day trade. Now, you see a lot of guys on TV. They'll be in and out of stocks, buying, trading, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling. That's not what I plan on doing. Now, I won't. Don't get me wrong. I was learning last year, and I was influenced and swayed by a lot of these guys on television. But as I learned, and I started to really, I'm a contrarian thinker. I question everything. And I really start looking at things through a different lens and having an open mind and really starting to look at these guys as they're talking out of their butt. And like I mentioned before, they want you to buy at the high so they can sell low. Or they want to buy in and out of these stocks where instead of buying and holding things long term, they can't sit on a stock longer than 2 minutes before they want to sell it because the market's going down or there's new news that in the grand scheme of things is not going to affect the company over the long term. And then last but not least, when everyone is fearful, that is the time to buy. Be contrarian. Being contrarian can lead to significant results. A lot of the greatest investors are contrarian, and especially like during recessions, that's where a lot of the people like hedge funds or people that have significant capital, that's when they're getting in. When everyone's fearful, everyone's selling, that's when they're identifying great value, great companies at great prices, and they're buying at the bottom, just like I did at some companies, and they're riding it up. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, all right, I don't want to listen to this guy. He hasn't showed us any proof of anything. Well, that's what we're going to do now. I want to give you guys some proof. So I'm going to screen share, and hopefully this works well for you guys. I'm going to share my screen. And here you can see my portfolio. And so for here, this is my total portfolio. And you can see here on the left-hand side, I know it's not really big, this is the S&P 500 that I've clicked, and that is this purple line here. Now, my accounts are the blue line, and that's the line that's on top of the purple line. And in here, as I stated, it says As of 12/31/23, so the end of 2023, my account was up 29.16%, whereas the S&P 500 total stock market return was at 26.29%. So like I said, I was just under 3% ahead of the S&P 500 last year. So I just wanted to show you guys the receipts. I'm not just talking out of my butt. I'm not lying to you guys. I invested in the stock market and I beat the stock market over the long haul last year. Now I want to go down a little bit faster, or excuse me, go down a little bit further. And I want to show you guys some of the companies that I invested in. And so you can see here, I'll just give you the big three. So Pfizer currently is my top holding. It's about just shy of 36% of my total portfolio. Next, underneath, remember I mentioned Roblox is one of my favorite stocks. Roblox, excuse me, Roblox is 19% of my total portfolio. And then to round out the big three of my portfolio, Lantheus Holdings. It's a medical device company, and they are 16% of my total portfolio. I've been watching this company the entire year. It's 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 not necessarily a company that I can say with 100%. And if I saw you in the elevator, I can tell you the ups and downs and ins and outs of the company. I'm learning a little bit more about the company, and that's why I'm keeping it at the tippy top. I'll hold it at 16 to 15% of my total portfolio. Anything more of that, if there's any significant news that sends the stock price down, it'll make me very nervous because I don't feel necessarily the most comfortable understanding all the ins and outs of the company. But like I said, I'm doing research and I'm learning more, just like NVIDIA. But I got it at a what I felt was a great price. And then past month, it dropped significantly. It dropped about 20%. And then I bought a little bit more. And it since rolled back up, and now I'm up overall in the company again. So I'm going to ride this through 2024, and this is going to be a company. These all are companies that I'm going to hold for the long term. And then I just want to tell you guys some of the other companies. Disney's 5% of my portfolio. Tesla's 5%. Bank of America's 5%. Apple 5%. I I had a lot of Apple. Pretty much when I started in 2022, majority of my portfolio was just all Apple and Microsoft. I was really found a couple guys, you might be familiar with them, Earn Your Leisure. And Ian Dunlop is part of the Market Mondays, who has a show with Earn Your Leisure, Troy and Rashad. And Ian's concept or his play is two tech, two index. And so I was investing in the S&P 500, the total stock market, and then I picked two tech companies, which were Apple and Microsoft. But uh, as I read more books and I am more comfortable being able to determine how to dissect the company, I didn't like the fact that so much of my portfolio was in tech. And so I got out of that, especially because remember I was investing in Apple, Microsoft, and then the S&P 500. Well, the S&P 500 is heavy tech companies. And so if the tech companies all went down, my portfolio is going to suffer significantly because I have so much in the tech companies. A large portion of my portfolio, I wasn't diversified. And so I started buying more companies in different sectors and different industries and building out a more diverse portfolio. And so I kept some of those shares that were the best shares. And I've sold off quite a bit too. And so that's why Apple's only 5% of my portfolio, even though it is a great company. Moving down, Vivid Seats, I'm invested in that company. It's kind of a new company. Microsoft, I have 3% of that. Sober Safe, they are a company that specializes in, they want to basically eliminate or reduce the amount of drunk drivers on the road, well, let me break it down. They have two products. One of the products, they have a band. You can have it for your if you have a high school student, right? And high school students are driving, they're going out. Sometimes they go over to parties on the weekend. And high schoolers, every now and then, they might be in situations where there's alcohol involved. Where SoberSafe has a wristband device where it detects any alcohol in your system. And also has a location, uh, it basically tracks the location of your child as well. And so if they're in the case where they are drinking and they can't drive, you can go pick up your child, or you can have someone else go pick them up and make sure they don't get behind the wheel, or get in the vehicle with someone who's been drinking and driving as well. So I think a company like this, now the stock is less than $1. So this is a very speculative company, and that's why it's only less than 5%. It's at 2.69% of my total stock market portfolio. And so I think this is a company that I'm all right with putting a little bit of risk into it, because I think the growth and the potential of this company, if it gets picked up into mainstream, it can be very beneficial and advantageous to hold on to this company. Also, they have a device that's used in warehouses. If you go to, say, like, we'll use Amazon for instance. So let's use this past week. Say you had a good time over New Year's, right? And you came into work and you were hungover. There's a device. As soon as you go into work, you swipe your badge, and then you put your hand on this device, and it reads if you have any alcohol in your system. The last thing you want to do is go working in a warehouse where someone's operating heavy machinery, and someone's operating that machinery and they're under the influence from last night, or they just come in because maybe they have issues they're going with and they're struggling with alcoholism. You don't want those people at your workplace operating heavy machinery, and it could be very dangerous, and it's not a safe work environment. So SoberSafe has a device that can eliminate or minimize uh, the issues that might arise in a warehouse. So I really love that company. I know I dove into that company more than I was expecting to, but I thought it was something that you guys might be interested in. All right, so let's go back. Stop sharing my screen for a minute. Okay, let's head back. All right, let's dive into my favorite stocks. Two of my favorite stocks for the year. Now, these are just two of my favorite publicly traded companies. I'm not saying these companies are going to be amazing. I have amazing returns this year, although I have a lot of faith and belief in Roblox, and that's the first company. But I just love these companies. I understand them. Remember, I said it's important that you understand the companies that you're invested in, because when things go awry, you'll be tempted to sell. But if you invested in the company and your thesis is one thing, and just because some news might drive it down short term, you're investing in the long term. If it didn't affect your thesis or the reason why you bought the company in the first place, you shouldn't be selling the stock. Um, the companies, the stock market is going to go up and down. You're just going to have to waver, or you're going to have the capacity to kind of get through those moments when the stock market's going up and down. It's not always going to go up. And when it's going down, you have to be comfortable with the company you invested in, or your investment at all. It doesn't have to necessarily be in the stock market, whether it's real estate. Sometimes real estate goes down too. So you just have to be comfortable and know what you're invested in. And if the reason why you bought the company hasn't changed, why are you, worried about something in the short term? But let's dive into Roblox. So Roblox is an online entertainment platform. Roblox offers Roblox Studio, a free tool set that allows developers and creators to build, publish, and operate 3D experiences and other content. Roblox Client, an application that allows users to explore 3D digital worlds. Roblox Education for learning experiences. And Roblox Cloud, which provides services and infrastructure that power the human co-experience platform. Now, this is more technical mumbo jumbo, but here's the reason why It's just simple reason why I invest in Roblox. Now I don't have children myself, but when I spend time with my family this for the past holidays, all the kids are playing Roblox, and I'm sure your kids are playing Roblox. What do the kids want for Christmas? Robux. So I really think this platform is the next. This is your kids' Facebook. That's what I truly believe. Roblox took off in 2020 when we were all at home, and it was really not a way for us to communicate and really interact with one another. So a lot of people were diving onto Roblox and interacting with one another. Well, as we moved out of the pandemic, Roblox kind of cratered, and some of those early investors left as well. Well, that's when I swooped in. I believe the stock price is around $25. And currently, well, Roblox took a hit today. It's down 6% today. But I knew because it's been riding so high, it was at one point my portfolio or my investment in stock in Roblox last year was up 70%. And so I knew there was going to be a little bit of a give back sometime soon, which is the reason why I started selling some of the shares. Also, Roblox has only been publicly traded since 2021. So it's a fairly new publicly traded company, and the business is not profitable right now. So it is a little bit risky, but I have faith in the management with the research that I've done. And currently the stock price is sitting around just under $43 to close today. Like I said, it dropped just about under 6%. But like I said, when my investment overall is up in Roblox is up 70%, why am I worried about a 6% drop? Has the thesis changed? No. Just what's happening today is a lot of people are moving out or selling some of their positions that were up high, right? What we talked about before, and now they're moving to other companies who might have been left in the dust, such as Pfizer in 2023. Pfizer is up 3% today. And in the past month, Pfizer is up about 1% after it had a significant drop in December. And then last but not least for Roblox, they're serving customers in the US, United Kingdom, Canada, Europe, China, the Asia Pacific, and internationally. So Roblox is expanding its footprint, and it's gaining traction, and it's gaining older users as well, 18 plus. It's not just a platform for just your kids. They're investing more and finding ways to how to get older audience involved on Roblox. Now, I have not personally, I keep saying I'm going to dive into it and really get into it. But as I've been building out my Patreon and really trying to figure out a cadence or exactly what you guys like and what you guys want in these episodes, I haven't had an opportunity to really dive into Roblox, but hopefully I'll have the opportunity to do so in the near future. All right, the second company, Disney. Now we all know Disney, right? I don't really have to say too much, but as far as business wise, I want to dive into that. So Disney is a worldwide entertainment company. Disney operates in three segments now. It's entertainment, sports, and experiences. Disney owns some of the most well-known IPs such as Marvel and Lucasfilm. It offers direct-to-consumer streaming services such as Disney Plus and Hulu. Its sports-related entertainment services, ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Disney operates theme parks, which we all know, and resorts, Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort, just to name a few. So those are some of the two companies that I know, I understand, and I love in 2024. Like I said, these are not companies I'm saying they're going to outperform the market. They're going to have significant growth. They're just companies that I love, and I'm going to enjoy watching and researching each quarter and really paying attention in the year of 2024. All right. Now, this is the education piece. We're going to learn a little bit something today. What is the VIX, aka the Fear Index? Now we're going to get technical. Hopefully, I don't bore you guys. The CBOE, but this is pertinent information, guys. If you want to invest in the stock market, these are things that you must know. You have to know. I understand sometimes it's boring and sometimes it's hard to grasp and understand. But if you dive into this more and more, you'll understand it. And this is information you need to know and need to use in order to be a great investor in the stock market. So the volatility index, the VIX, VIX, signals a level of fear or stress in the stock market. Using the S&P 500 index as a proxy for the broad market, and hence is widely known as a fear index. Now, the higher the VIX, the greater the level of fear and uncertainty. Let me read that again. The higher the VIX, the greater level of fear and uncertainty in the market, with levels above 30 indicating tremendous uncertainty. So when you think about this, so if it's the greater the level of fear and uncertainty in the market, so if the VIX runs high, stocks are more than likely for that day or that time period are probably overall the market's probably going down. Whereas if the VIX is low, there's less fear and uncertainty, so more likely people are investing in the stock market and the market is more than likely running up. This morning, the VIX made a significant jump from 12.5 to over 14. I believe when I looked early this morning, it was up over 10%, around 14%. At 1:45 p.m., the VIX settled at 13. I suggest checking the VIX at the beginning of each trading day, as it could help you decide how the market is moving that day. So maybe if you've been watching a company and it's very near your price target that you've been looking to enter in a position and execute. If you see the VIX is rising really high, and say if your price target is 40 and it goes to 40, you might want to wait a little bit because the market might give you a little bit more of a sale and you can buy at an even better price. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's just these are some tools that you can use if you're interested in either buying or selling that day. I would get up that day, that morning, that afternoon, whatever the time period that you're looking at the market, and check and see what the VIX is looking like that day. And it might help you determine whether it's a good time to buy or sell a equity. All right, now we're going to screen share again because we're going to talk about brokerage accounts for your kids. And we're going to use ChatGPT to give us some information with this. Now, I talked to my sister during the holidays, and we were discussing opening up a brokerage account for my niece. Because I have a couple of shares in Roblox that I like to give to her and for her to hold on to long term. Like I said, I believe Roblox is going to be a powerhouse company in the next 5-10 years. And so if I can give her some shares right now when it's cheap and just let her sit on it and build up, maybe it's time for her to attend college, or it's time for her to invest in her first home. Maybe the stock runs up and she can use some of the profits, and she can pull that out and she can use that towards her down payment. And for those of you who have kids, or if you have nieces or nephews, or just anybody in your family, I think is now, especially at the beginning of the year, now is a great time for us to open up accounts for our kids, or just open up accounts for ourselves as well. While you open up account for your kids, if you don't have a brokerage account, now is a great time for you to open up your account yourself, and now time for you to start investing if you haven't started investing outside of your 401k, where you really let someone else manage that account. All right, so let's screen share again. Okay. Now, if you guys are not familiar with ChatGPT, I need you to get familiarized with ChatGPT. This is absolutely a tool that you will absolutely be able to take advantage of and use throughout. I use it every day. But one thing that you want to be able to do is put in a correct prompt so ChatGPT gives you the information that you need. The more detailed you provide, the better. And so this is exactly what I put in ChatGPT in order for it to spit out the information that I needed to share with you guys today. So I open up ChatGPT, open up an account. The left hand side, you can do new chat. And then down here, it says message ChatGPT. I hope you guys, hope it's large enough for you guys to see. And so what I put in here, I said, take the role as an expert financial advisor and stock market analyst. How do I open a brokerage account for my kids and what are the advantages? Explain to me as if I have no prior knowledge on the stock market or brokerage accounts. And then within seconds, guys, within seconds. Now, if you go to Google, you might have to do a little bit of work, read all these articles, and really dissect what you need to know. And just be mindful. If you put in bad prompts, you're going to get bad information. The more information you put in and the best prompts, if you need to get, you can Google how to create the most efficient prompt in order to get the best information from ChatGPT. And by the way, I use the free version, ChatGPT 3.5. You put in the prompts and then it'll spit back the information. Now, ChatGPT said, certainly, opening a brokerage account for your kids can be a great way to introduce them to the world of investing and financial responsibility. Here's a step-by-step guide, assuming you have no prior knowledge. And before we get into it, I want to stop there. The reason why I'm so focused on the stock market and why I talk about poker a lot is because in my experience, there's so many similarities and this is as me playing poker as well, of playing poker and how I use math and I use information that's available. I use limited information that's available, just like we do when we invest in the stock market. We don't know, we can't predict the future. So we look at data in order for us to make educated decisions on how we think the public company may perform in the future. Right? And just be mindful, the stock market, just because a company has good earnings and revenue does not mean that the stock is going to go up. But if investors have a positive view on the company, then they'll invest. Just think of it this way. A lot of people are investing in GameStop and AMC. Those companies, if you look at the data is not telling you, not saying anything that make you believe that the company is going to be a growth company going forward in the future, at least not in the short term. So what they're investing in GameStop or when they were back in the pandemic, or really anything we were invested in during the pandemic, everything was going up. It had nothing to do with the actual performance or earnings or revenue the company is bringing in. It had everything to do with, these are great companies. If you're missing out, look how these stocks are running. It was a lot of FOMO. It was how people were perceiving the companies. Or it's like Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's running, everybody's throwing in money at the top. Whereas, like, why are you investing at the top? You should be investing when Bitcoin was at the rock bottom, when no one was talking about it. Now, when everybody's talking about it and it's ran 100%, you want to get in now? It's kind of laughable, right? So we have to train ourselves to really kind of do the opposite of what we naturally want to do. All right, let's get back into opening a brokerage account for your kids and also for you. And also, before I get into it, if you have these conversations with your kids, I know growing up, I didn't have conversations about money investing with my parents. And so if we start this now, we'll break that generation, we'll break those curses. I won't necessarily curses. We'll break that stigma that having conversations with about money are uncomfortable and just not something that we do with our family. No, we should be having conversations about money consistently. The more conversations we have, the more comfortable we'll feel about money, and then we'll be more comfortable investing and maybe taking more calculated risk. I know people that have thousands of dollars in their bank account, just sitting in a bank account. They're losing money because of inflation. Whereas if you put that money to work in the market, yeah, sure, your market money might go down, but you're already losing money by leaving it in an account and not doing anything with it and letting it work for you. That's crazy to me. If you have money to invest, you should be investing it. And I'm not saying invest it all, and I'm not saying do it in investing things that are going to like get rich quick schemes, because there is no such thing. If it is, well, good luck. All right, let's dive in. Understand the basics, number one. Before diving in, it's important to have a basic understanding of what brokerage account is. A brokerage account is a type of financial account that allows you to buy and sell various investments such as stock, bonds, and mutual funds. Now, step two is choose the right brokerage. Selecting the right brokerage is crucial. Look for one that offers custodial accounts for minors. Custodial accounts are controlled by an adult, usually a parent or guardian, until the child reaches a certain age, typically 18 or 21, depending on the state. Popular online brokerages like Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and TD Ameritrade often offer custodial accounts, and they have user-friendly interfaces. Step 3, gather necessary information. To open an account, you'll need some personal information such as social security numbers for your child and you, birth certificates for your child, proof of residence such as utility bill or driver's license, and employment information. Step 4, complete the application. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Step 5, fund the account. That's self-explanatory as well. Now you can decide on an initial investment amount, keeping in mind that you can add more funds later on. You are typically going to fund the account through a bank transfer. And now here are some of the advantages of opening a brokerage account for your kids. Long-term growth is number one. Investing at an early age gives an investment more time to grow, potentially taking advantage of compound returns. Now, I want you guys to really dive into and research compounding returns and how impactful that is. I think Einstein said it was like I can't remember how many, like something compound. Einstein mentioned the impact and how important compound returns and compound interest is. Financial education, number 2. It's an excellent opportunity to teach your kids about financial markets, investing, and the importance of saving. Start them early, get them saving, and get them in the mindset of investing. Number 3, gift of financial security. And by investing in kids, you're providing them with potential financial head start in the future, such as education expenses or for your first home, which I mentioned earlier. Hands-on experience, number 4. Your kids can actively participate in choosing investments, fostering a sense of responsibility and financial decision-making. I bet you if you ask the kids what public company they want to invest in, I bet you they will all say Roblox. And number 5, tax advantages. Some investments may offer tax benefits, and your kids may have lower tax rates than adults, so take advantage of that. Now remember, investing always carries risks, so it's important to educate yourself and your children about basics of investing and the associated risks before getting started. Consider consulting with a financial advisor for personalized advice based on your specific situation. Hope you guys found value in that, and we're going to head back and get rid of the screen share. Okay. All right. Now to close out, we're going to discuss Bitcoin because Bitcoin hit above 45K for the first time since April 2022. So you might ask, why is Bitcoin rising? Here are the 2 catalysts that may give you some insight on why Bitcoin is starting to rise at a significant rate. Number 1, the potential approval of Bitcoin exchange, of a Bitcoin exchange traded fund in US. A Bitcoin ETF allows investors to buy a product that tracks the price of Bitcoin without having to own cryptocurrency directly, likely appealing to a larger institutional investor. Many believe the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission may make a decision to approve a Bitcoin ETF as soon as this month. So this is a lot of people, a lot of analysts on TV are saying the reason why the price of Bitcoin is rising is because it's kind of the buy the news trade. There's a lot of momentum, a lot of news coming out that the Bitcoin ETF might be approved soon. And so that's a lot of analysts are saying that's the reason why Bitcoin is moving. And maybe once it is approved, then we'll have a little bit of a decline in price. But we won't know that until there is a possible approval, and we'll see how that affects Bitcoin as we are expecting, or at least I am expecting, some news and some headway that there will be a approval of a Bitcoin ETF in the very near future. And then I've discussed this before, and we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper because it is very technical, but Bitcoin halving. And I've talked about this multiple times in my podcast and on All in Society and Friends previous episodes. But personally, I invest in Bitcoin because there is a fixed supply, whereas new dollars can be printed every day, diluting the value of the dollar. Now, there will only be 21 million Bitcoin in existence ever. This is managed by a process called halving, and that's halving. Every 4 years, Bitcoin mining rewards are cut in half, and this maintains the asset's scarcity and value. And I want to dive a little bit more in what exactly is Bitcoin mining. And so I'm going to go to ChatGPT again, and I put in as a prompt, take the role as an expert in Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. Explain Bitcoin mining to me as if I'm a high school student. All right, so I'll pull up the screen share again for you guys so you can see along. It says, hey there. Imagine you and your friends want to create a special kind of money that's different from the bills and coins we use every day. Instead of a central authority like a government or a bank controlling it, you want everyone to have a say in how the money works. That's kind of like what Bitcoin is all about. You can, and I don't know if you've seen some of the Coinbase commercials recently. The most recent one is they're like like our parents. You go to college, you get a job, you save your money, you get a house. Whereas now it's for us, it's the prices of homes are up so high, and mortgage rates are so are higher than where we're accustomed to seeing them. Right now, they're right around the price they are average over the long term. But just for us, especially for me, when I bought my home in 2019 and I have a rate of 3% or 3.5%, to look at a rate that was 8% a couple months ago, that's like holy moly's. That's a lot more money that it takes in order for you to get in order to get into a home or to get a mortgage. And then the commercials on Coinbase now, they said for us, it's go to college, get a job, get another job in order to pay for all your expenses and all your debt from your 4 year college. And the opportunity to buy a home is almost like non-existent because the cost of rent is so astronomical right now. And so that Coinbase commercial really hits home to me. I was lucky enough; I had the opportunity, and now my father helped me. I put up $10,000 in order to get the house, and my dad helped me with the closing costs. So he put up $10,000 as well. Not everybody has Not everybody has a family member that can help them put up $10,000 in order to get their first home. So I'm lucky enough that my parents had the opportunity to help me get into my first home, and it was a great investment because I only put down less than 5%, and within almost, I'll be in the home 5 years. This in July this year, my home's equity has rose significantly, opposed to what it's like a 5 year track. What how home prices typically run in 5 years, this is like night and day. The value of my home has skyrocketed. So I'm very thankful, grateful for that, and just glad I had the mental capacity and the wherewithal to not listen to what everybody was saying. Even back then, people were saying the interest rates are going to go lower, or excuse me, mortgage rates are going to go lower. Like, what? What do you want it to be? Zero? Like, people were still saying no. Now is not time to buy a house. There's a housing bubble that's coming. It's foolishness, and these people probably don't even own homes themselves. So again, you have to be mindful of what information you're getting and who you're getting this information from. A lot of these people are just listening to stuff that's regurgitated on the television, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about, to be quite honest. All right, well, let's get into it. Now, to make sure this new type of money is secure and everyone plays fair, we need a way to verify transactions. We're talking about Bitcoin mining. That's where Bitcoin mining comes in. Mining is like solving really complex puzzles on your computer, and for the first one to solve it gets to add a new block of transactions to the Bitcoin network. Now, picture this. It's like a big digital ledger that keeps track of who has how much Bitcoin. Each time someone wants to send or receive Bitcoin, miners group those transactions into a block. But before it can be added to the ledger, they need to solve mathematical puzzles. This process is called proof of work. And now there's proof of work and there's proof of stake. Now, if you guys want to dive into that deeper, we're getting real technical. I want to keep this just as clean cut as possible. Now, the puzzles are super hard to solve, but once a miner solves it, they shout it out to the network, and everyone checks if it's correct. If it is correct, the new block is added to the ledger, and the miner who solved the puzzle gets a reward in Bitcoin. It's like finding a hidden treasure for doing the hard work. This whole mining process is what makes Bitcoin secure and decentralized, which is the key and why people are so crazy and love Bitcoin, because it is decentralized. Since it takes a lot of computing power to solve these puzzles, it's not easy for anyone to cheat or manipulate the system. So in a nutshell, Bitcoin mining is like a digital competition where people use their computers to solve puzzles, secure the network, and earn some Bitcoin in the process. If that's what keeps the whole Bitcoin system running, it's what keeps the whole Bitcoin system running smoothly and fairly. All right, so I hope you guys got something out of that. I know it was real technical, it can be real nerdy. I still have struggle really diving in and understanding Bitcoin. I just like to buy it when it's at its bottom and hold on to it for the long term. All right. Now let's close out today's episode. I hope you guys provided some type of value, entertainment, or you learned something in today's episode. Make sure you stay tuned and stay with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, whether it's a pre-recorded show just like this, or I have a live recording where we bring in guests and experts in their respective fields. Tap in with me every Tuesday. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Stay tuned for more information on those Patreon groups if you're interested in that. You can follow me on social media, as I stated, at Uncle Buddy21. You guys know how to spell Uncle and Buddy, Buddy 21. You can hit me up on social media. You can leave a comment in here, and I'll be absolutely reach out to you. I have no problem reaching out to you guys on a one-to-one basis. And I'll leave you with this, our slogan. Remember, life is one big session. Play the cards you are dealt to the best of your ability. And I promise in 2024, 2025, 2026, and in the future, you will always come out ahead. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. See you later. Till next time.